with this very interesting initiative, of course, that is now taking place. Libraries going a long way towards unleashing the potential inherent in every young pupil. Now, books are pieces of wisdom passed on from one generation to another, aimed at improving our understanding of the world and the future. And joining me now to speak more about it is Morne Scholtz, who is Avbob's Corporate Social Investment Specialist, and Dr. Charles Sibiya, an Oxford University Press Southern Africa Provincial Education Manager. Very good morning to both of you gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us. I want to get this thought from the two of you, but I want to start with you, Morne.
Thank you.
The motivation behind this initiative.
So the Avbob Foundation was founded in 2012, and Avbob has always placed a heavy focus on education. We have a container library project that we've donated 57 of them across the country, and as a secondary project, we had our trolley library project. In 2021, Oxford University Press approached us and said, we've seen about your initiatives. How can we get involved? They donated around 86,000 books to Avbob. And in partnership, we have now decided to roll out this Road to Literacy trolley library competition.
Dr. Sibiya, obviously reading is important, so that becomes the very first reason why it is Oxford would want to be getting involved. But what are the other reasons that motivated you, that inspired your organization to get involved in this?
Yes, thanks. Today marks World Book Day and Copyright Day. Yeah. And essentially it celebrates reading and the promotion and the love of books. As a publishing company, it fits well with what we do. And we recognize the fact that learning and reading is an important part of bringing up learners out there and to teach the nation. However, it can only happen if we get involved. So as a publishing company, we find that this is very much a fit in what we do, mainly because we understand the situation. We cannot leave this to government. It's a problem for every person who is involved in education. We can only add our 2 cents worth of service to the community. We also understand that most of the schools that we have previously disadvantaged schools, and most of the schools and many learners in those schools have never seen the sight of any book in their lives. So it's a very good thing for us to be involved in this initiative.
Morne, you've of course highlighted why it is Avbob have gotten involved, or you've begun this initiative and have gotten the stakeholder that is Oxford involved in it, but where do you want to see the initiative go?
So this is a pilot for us. To date, the campaign started on Tuesday. We've already received over 500 nominations. Our goal was initially 800. And it's proving to be something that I think we would take on as an annual campaign based on the success of it. So yes, that's really where we wanted to go. We want to see trolley libraries in schools. We want to see learners reading. We want to see learners reading for comprehension, not just reading. And that's really the stance of both organizations that are part of this initiative.
We're obviously living, in a digital world, you know. Yes, there are e-books, which are the thing today where if you don't want to actually pick up a hard copy, you can get it on a, whatever the Kindles and such devices. But what are you finding in terms of the interest in reading in a digital world? Because for somebody like myself who lives on social media, all I need really is a headline. I don't need to go into the article. The headline gives me the story and I keep it moving. So what are you finding in terms of the interest and the desire to keep reading books in the age of the digital world?
It's undeniable that digital plays an important role in education. However, we need to understand that not all schools have access to digital. We must be alive to the fact that some schools are getting it right and some it's just a bridge too far for them. However, reading cannot stop because of that. We find that as Oxford, we have to continue to develop resources that learners can access either print or digitally. And that's the reason why we have recently launched a platform called EduZone, which comes in handy for teachers to be able to access learning online and offline, because that is the kind of challenge that we have out there. But more importantly, we believe that teachers and learners have to be given every support that is necessary for them to be able to learn, either digitally or through print.
Morne, you mentioned the trolley library.
Yeah.
You know, one of the exciting things that is part of this initiative. Just talk to us a bit more about what the trolley library is all about, and I suppose its purpose.
So the trolley library is actually manufactured by our factory in Bloemfontein, and it's been co-branded with both organizations. And the purpose of it is that it can house around 400 books, and it would be able to be moved from classroom to classroom. So even though it's not a fully fledged library, it is something that allows teachers to at least share the resource around the schools and in different phases of the school.
You mentioned something that's also quite important as you were unpacking the digital versus, hard copy book phenomenon, was that there are some kids that have never, let alone caught up with the digital space. Some kids have not even just touched a book. Just speak to us about the kinds of books that that are expected to be rolled out throughout this initiative, because some books could be a little too intense for a child that is not yet exposed to reading as often as they probably should be at a particular age. So just the kinds of books that kids can be expecting.
We are going to make available a variety of books, from fiction to non-fiction, books that are relevant to the age groups of learners in primary schools from grade art up to grade 7. These books will include storybooks, reading for enjoyment, but more importantly, we have realized that learners learn much better even if they learn books that are written in their own languages. And as Oxford, we are a leading literacy publisher. We publish books in all official languages, and we found that it's much easier. It makes learners to grasp learning much easier if they read and they learn in their own languages. So it's a whole lot type of books that we're going to make available to learners.
Now, I know this is about learners primarily, but let's say you have Morena, who used to read quite a lot, during school, was forced to, even though he didn't like to, and then hasn't read a book, hasn't picked up a book in the last 10 years. How do you get a 30-year-old to pick up a book, just the same way, with the same enthusiasm as you would have a 14-year-old in high school or a 10-year-old in primary school to pick up a book?
Books or stories, they must reflect the realities of life that people are accustomed to. So we endeavor to always produce and make books that will find relevance in the lives of people, regardless of their age. So it is something that we take to heart whenever we develop resources. So it shouldn't be an issue that worries anyone out there. But the main important thing here is, how do we develop and instill that love for books? It must start at an early age, and it must be carried through. And this initiative aims to do just that. We believe that all that learners need is someone to plant that seed. And you'll be amazed how learners can turn out to be once they immerse themselves in the world of books. Any type of book. Out there, those learners that you are referring to, that you have never ever laid their hands on a book, will find solace in any form of reading. And as Oxford, we are always supposed to be there to prepare and to present to them books that they will find interesting.
But now Oxford and Avbob can't do it all by themselves. They can't reach every corner of this country. There are tens of millions of people in this country, and your resources can only go so far.
Correct.
And then comes in the government. Now, I know Charles said you can't wait for the government. We've come to see that pretty much with a lot of things in this country, you just can't wait for the government. You need to make the first move, and then maybe the government will jump on and assist you. Are there any talks? Is there any kind of engagement? Is there any kind of, attraction? Is there kind of notice from the government of this initiative and what it is you guys are trying? Are you hoping that there is from the government?
So both organizations obviously have a very, very good relationship with the Department of Basic Education, and we do have the support from the department. Us specifically on our container library project and also our trolley library project. This is obviously just an extension of that. And we believe that everyone needs to come together in South Africa to make South Africa a better place. So in as much as we would want government to do more, we also realize that we can't expect them to do everything, and that is why these private-public partnerships are so important.
I asked Morne where he would like to see this initiative go. I put that question to you. As the Oxford, of course, University, or, and the Press Association, the Press Club itself, where do you want to see this go? I mean, the idea would be to get as many kids reading. If anything, every child reading. But the realistic goal, the short-term goal, where do you want to see this?
We want to get books in front of learners. That is the first and the most immediate thing that we are hoping to achieve. However, we know that learning is supposed to be a lifelong kind of an aspiration for anyone. That engagement that Morne is referring to is something that we as Oxford would want to continue to have. It will be of benefit to everyone. Learners have to be given that opportunity. We are going to start with that initiative, and we are sure that once learners are given these books, they'll be able to continue to learn throughout their lives.
How many schools will benefit from this, Morne?
So we have 180 trolleys up for grabs. It's a nationwide campaign. The public can nominate primary schools, grade R to 7, or NGOs who work within the education space to receive one of these trolley libraries. And winners will be announced at the end of August, and we'll do handovers during September.
That is fantastic. Guys, this is an amazing initiative, and hopefully it does, essentially the fire catches, where not literally on the books, but just in its figurative sense, that the fire catches and that we do essentially get more books in front of more children. But of course, thank you very much for what it is you guys are doing, and it's some very important things that you guys have mentioned where this is concerned. Of course, that is Avbob and Oxford University and Press are embarking on a national journey to make a difference through the power of reading and learning. And you, of course, yourself can support this initiative. You can be there to help make sure that a book is in front of every learner, and even if it's not a learner, somebody like myself who perhaps hasn't picked up a book in a very long time, you still can get a book in front of Morena Mothupi. But that, of course, is Morne Scholtz from Avbob, and of course, Charles Sibiya from the Oxford University Press. Thank you very much to them for joining us here on the South African Morning. We're going